still remember the exact moment my hands started shaking. I was standing in a glass conference room, in front of the CEO of the company I had worked at for 4 years, and I was holding a printed email that was going to end someone's career. Not mine. Hers. The woman who smiled at me every single morning. The woman who brought me coffee on my birthday. The woman who I actually, God, this is embarrassing to admit, I actually considered a friend. She sabotaged the biggest project of my life. And I almost lost everything because of it. If you've ever worked hard for something, and someone you trusted tried to take it away from you, stay with me. Because this story still gives me chills. And I'm about to tell you every single detail. My name doesn't matter. What matters is what happened to me. So let's start from the beginning. Okay, so a little bit about me first. I'm 31 years old. I live in Ohio. And for most of my 20s, I felt like I was just surviving. You know that feeling? Where you're not really living your life, you're just getting through the week. I grew up in a small town. My parents didn't have much money. My dad worked construction, my mom cleaned houses, and I remember promising myself, at like 15 years old, sitting in my bedroom, that one day I would have a career. A real one. Something with my name on it. Something that mattered. So I worked hard. I really did. I put myself through college with loans and 2 part-time jobs. I graduated with a marketing degree, and after a few rough years of entry-level jobs that barely paid rent, I finally landed a position at a mid-sized company. I'll just call it the company, because I don't want any legal trouble. You know how it is. It was a marketing and branding firm. Maybe 200 employees. Not huge, not tiny. And I started as a junior coordinator. Answering emails. Making coffee runs if I'm honest. But I didn't care. I was just happy to be in the room. You might be wondering how someone goes from junior coordinator to almost getting sabotaged in front of the CEO. Well, it took 4 years. 4 years of late nights. 4 years of skipping birthdays and holidays because I wanted to prove myself. And slowly it worked. I got promoted. Then promoted again. By year 3, I was a senior marketing strategist, and I was good at my job. I mean really good. I had a talent for seeing what a brand needed before the client even said it out loud. And that's when I met her. I'll call her Rachel in this story. Not her real name, obviously. Rachel joined the team about 3 years ago. She was smart. Funny. She had this way of making you feel like you were the only person in the room when she talked to you. We clicked almost instantly. We'd get lunch together. We'd vent about our bosses together. She knew about my breakup. I knew about her divorce. We were, in every sense of the word, friends. Or so I thought. Here's the thing about workplaces, and I think a lot of you watching this already know it. Everyone smiles at you. But not everyone means it. I didn't learn that lesson the easy way. I learned it the hard way. And it nearly broke me. So here's where it gets serious. About 8 months ago, my company landed the biggest client in company history. I'm talking a national brand. The kind of client that, if you land the campaign, your name gets attached to it forever. The kind of project that changes careers. And I was chosen to lead it. Me. After 4 years of grinding, after 4 years of proving myself, I was chosen. Out of everyone in that office, they picked me. I remember calling my mom that night, crying on the phone telling her, "Mom, I did it. I actually did it." She cried too. She said, "Your dad would be so proud of you." My dad passed away 2 years before that from a heart condition, and I think that's part of why this project meant so much to me. I wanted to prove that everything he sacrificed for me, working double shifts, missing my school events, all of it, I wanted to prove it meant something. So I threw myself into that project like my life depended on it. 12-hour days. Weekends in the office. I barely saw my boyfriend for 2 months. I lost sleep, I lost weight, I lost, honestly, a lot of my sanity. And Rachel? She was on my team. I specifically requested her because I trusted her. I thought, she's smart, she's reliable, we work well together. I fought for her to be part of this project. I fought for the person who would try to destroy me. Isn't that something? Around month 2 of the project, I started noticing small things. Little things. Things I brushed off at first because I didn't want to believe what I was starting to suspect. Files would go missing from our shared drive. Just disappear. I'd spend hours recreating slides I swore I had already finished. Meeting notes would come back different than what I remembered. Details changed. Numbers changed. At first, I thought I was just exhausted. I thought maybe I was losing track of things because I was working so much. You start to doubt yourself, you know? You think, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm the problem. That's the scariest part of being sabotaged by someone close to you. They make you question your own mind before you even realize what's happening. But then something happened that I couldn't explain away anymore. We had a huge presentation coming up. The client was flying in from out of state. This was the moment. The moment that would decide if we kept this account or lost it completely. I stayed up until 3 a.m. finishing the final deck. I sent it to the shared folder. I triple-checked it. I went to bed feeling proud of myself for the first time in weeks. The next morning, I opened my laptop to review it one more time before the meeting. The deck was gone. Not just edited. Gone. Deleted from the shared drive completely. I felt my stomach drop into my shoes. I remember my hands were literally trembling as I searched through folders, checked the trash bin, checked version history, nothing. It was like it never existed. I had 4 hours before the client walked into that building. You might be wondering what I did next. Honestly, I panicked. I called Rachel immediately because she also had access to that folder, and I asked her, "Did you see what happened to the deck?" And she said, and I remember this word for word because it's burned into my brain, she said, "Oh no, that's awful. I have no idea what happened. Technology, right?" She sounded so calm, so sympathetic. She even offered to help me rebuild it. I believed her. I spent the next 4 hours rebuilding an entire client presentation from memory, from old email drafts, from scraps I could find. I didn't shower. I didn't eat. I just typed and typed and typed, my heart pounding the entire time. We walked into that meeting, and I presented a deck that was maybe 70% as strong as the one I lost. It went okay. Not great. Okay. After the client left, my director pulled me aside and said, "That wasn't your best work. What happened?" I didn't have an answer that didn't sound like an excuse. So I just said, "I'm sorry. It won't happen again." I went to the bathroom after that conversation, and I cried in a stall for probably 10 minutes. Just silent, ugly crying. The kind where you're trying so hard to be quiet that your whole body shakes. I didn't tell anyone what really happened. I didn't want to sound paranoid. I didn't want to accuse a coworker, a friend, without proof. But deep down something in me knew. The weeks after that were some of the hardest of my life. Little things kept happening. A client email that was supposed to go to me got, accidentally, forwarded to Rachel first, and she responded on my behalf, changing the tone of what I had planned to say. A budget spreadsheet had numbers that didn't match what I submitted. Every single time there was some innocent explanation. Every single time, I felt crazy for even suspecting her. I started losing confidence in myself. I started doubting every decision I made. I'd draft an email 3 times before sending it. I'd double, triple, quadruple check my own work, because I no longer trusted that things would stay the way I left them. I want to pause here and just say something, because I know some of you watching this have felt this exact thing. When someone you trust starts working against you quietly, it doesn't just hurt your career. It hurts your sense of reality. You start to feel like you can't trust your own judgment. And that is one of the loneliest feelings in the world. I remember calling my best friend from college one night, just sobbing on the phone saying, "I think someone is trying to ruin me and I don't even know why." She asked me, "Why would Rachel do that? You guys are close." And that's when it hit me. A memory I hadn't thought about in months. About 4 months before the sabotage started, there had been an opening for an associate director position. I got it. Rachel had also applied. I remembered her congratulating me in front of everyone, hugging me, telling me I deserved it. But I also remembered, just for a split second, the look on her face before she smiled. I hadn't let myself think about it until now. It was there for maybe half a second. But it was there. Jealousy. I didn't want to believe that someone could hate me enough over a promotion to try and destroy months of my work. That felt too dramatic. Too much like something out of a movie. But sometimes life really is dramatic. Sometimes people really do things you don't expect from someone who smiles at you every day. The real turning point came 3 weeks before the final project deadline. The client was making their final decision on whether to renew the multi-million-dollar contract with our company, based on our team's performance. I decided, after everything that had happened, I was going to protect myself. Quietly. I stopped trusting the shared drive completely. I started backing up every single file to my personal cloud storage, time-stamped, before I sent anything to the team folder. I also started something I never thought I'd have to do at a job I loved. I started keeping a private log. Every time something went missing. Every time a number changed. Every time an email got altered. I wrote the date, the time, and what happened. I didn't tell anyone. I just quietly documented everything, like building a case, even though a part of me still hoped I was wrong about her. And then 10 days before the final deadline, I found it. I was working late, again, and I noticed Rachel had left her laptop unlocked at her desk while she stepped out for a call. I want to be honest with you, I wasn't trying to snoop. I walked past to grab something from the printer next to her desk, and her screen was just open, right there. And on her screen was an email draft. It was addressed to our director. And it said, I'm paraphrasing some of it, but I remember the core of it clearly. It basically said that I had been struggling to keep up with the demands of the project, and that she had been quietly covering for my mistakes for months, to protect the team's reputation. She was building a case against me. The same way I had been documenting evidence to protect myself. She had been building a narrative to destroy me, and take my position. I felt sick. Actually sick, like I might throw up right there in the office. I didn't touch her laptop. I didn't take a photo of it in that moment because honestly, I was too shaken to even think straight. I just walked back to my desk and sat there, staring at my screen, not seeing anything. That night, I didn't sleep at all. The next morning, I made a decision that changed everything. I decided I wasn't going to keep quiet anymore. But I also knew I couldn't just walk into HR and say, I think my coworker is sabotaging me. Without proof, it would just look like office drama. 2 women fighting. That's how it would be seen, and honestly, that's how these things often get dismissed. I needed something solid. So for the next week and a half, I became incredibly careful. I stopped sharing anything through the team drive without keeping my own separate, time-stamped copy. I started blind copying my personal email on important client communications, just so there would be a paper trail that couldn't be altered. And then 5 days before the final deadline, it happened again, but this time, I was ready. I came in early one morning, around 6:30 a.m., way before most of the office. I wanted to prepare for a meeting. And when I opened the shared project folder, an entire section of our client deliverables, the section I was personally responsible for, had been changed. Numbers were wrong. Projections didn't match what I had submitted. If this version had gone to the client, it would have made me look completely incompetent. But this time, I had my backup. I had the time-stamped original, saved to my personal drive, proving exactly what I had submitted and when. I also had version history metadata. I asked a friend in IT, someone I trusted completely, to quietly pull the edit history on that file. Not officially, just as a favor. And it showed exactly who made the changes, and exactly when. It was Rachel. 11:47 p.m. The night before. I sat there staring at my screen, and honestly, I felt this strange mix of emotions. I was angry, yes. I was hurt deeply. But there was also this strange, quiet relief. I wasn't crazy. I hadn't imagined any of it. I wasn't losing my mind. She had been doing this on purpose, the entire time. I want to be honest with you about something. My first instinct wasn't to run to the CEO. My first instinct was to talk to Rachel directly. Because even after everything, some small part of me still hoped there was an explanation. Some part of me still wanted my friend back. I asked her to grab coffee with me that afternoon. We sat down and I said calmly, Rachel, I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me. I told her what I found. the edit history, the email draft I saw on her screen. All of it. And here's the thing that broke my heart the most. She didn't apologize. She got defensive immediately. She said I was being paranoid. She said I was imagining things because of stress. She actually tried to turn it around on me, saying that I had been distant and difficult to work with, and that maybe I needed to look inward before accusing her of anything. I sat there in that coffee shop, and I felt something shift inside me. Not sadness anymore. Something harder. Something clearer. I realized I wasn't going to get honesty from her. I wasn't going to get an apology. So I was going to have to protect myself the only way that actually mattered, with facts, presented to the people who could actually do something about it. I went home that night and I organized everything. My private log, with dates and times. The backup files with timestamps proving what I had originally submitted. The IT edit history showing exactly when and how the files were changed, and by which account. I even had screenshots of the strange, subtly altered client emails. I built what I can only describe as a case file. Clean, factual, unemotional. No accusations of personality, no drama, just evidence. 3 days later, I requested a meeting with my director, and, because of how serious this was for a multi-million-dollar client relationship, it was escalated to include the CEO directly. I remember walking into that glass conference room. My legs actually felt weak. I had printed everything out, organized in a folder, because I didn't want to rely on a laptop that could glitch or freeze at the worst moment. The CEO was there. My director was there. And Rachel was called in too, because it was only fair that she have a chance to respond. I laid it all out. Calmly. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't cry. Even though every part of me wanted to. I just went through the timeline, the evidence, the edit history, piece by piece. I said, I'm not here to destroy anyone's career. I'm here because I worked too hard for too many years to let my work be sabotaged and let someone else take credit, or let someone else damage our biggest client relationship because of a personal issue with me. I watched Rachel's face the entire time, and I watched it change. The confident, composed mask she always wore just slowly cracked. And please document things. Keep records. Protect your work, your name, your reputation. Not out of fear, but out of self-respect. I made it through this. And if I can make it through this, so can you. If this story meant something to you, if any part of it felt familiar, I would really love to hear about it in the comments below. What would you have done in my position? Have you ever had to protect yourself from someone you trusted? And if you want to hear more real stories like this one, make sure you subscribe, because I have a lot more to share. Thank you for listening to my story. Genuinely, thank you. It means more to me than you know. I'll see you in the next video.